Hi. I haven't looked in the mirror, but I'm sure I look like very tired. Probably have swollen eyes. Oh, let's see. Started out the evening. Late in the evening, had yet another cantankerous time conversing with my spouse, which really upset me. I'm gonna change this so I can sit back a little. Yeah, there I was, thinking about my position between a rock and a hard place with someone who thinks that I should just tolerate things the way they are because that's the way I am. I'm never gonna change. And I'm like, I can't stand it though, and just like, you married me, and I'm like, this isn't the person I married. Yes, it is. No, you were misrepresenting yourself at the very least anyway. Again, I don't want to use my camera as a marital consultant. But so that, I got very upset trying to picture the various options available to me, which consisted of continuing to live with someone that I don't like, or respect, or enjoy, or the financial destitution that I'd face now as compared to before I met him is even greater. The things under my care that need me and that income is greater. I didn't have a parrot back then. I basically just had a dog and a canary back then. Actually, I think I had a small parrot. And anyways, I had a lot fewer bills and a lot fewer needs, and and it was bad enough then. And I'm just laying there thinking about, and I couldn't calm down. So I quickly fired 3 shots of rum down my throat, and it helped a little, but it didn't help a lot. I did eventually fall asleep, but not for long, because my colostomy, my stoma, started acting up now. Well, I probably mentioned it. Anyways, a colostomy is a substitute for the natural way of eliminating waste, and it consists of a plastic bag glued on to your stomach, inside of which there is a spot where they have stitched your colon to your belly, and it sticks out and it heals up with a little scar ring, and it's like, it's not a wound anymore. It's just your colon poking through your skin, and they've managed to make the 2 pieces of skin grow together so that it's sealed, and then they this ineffective paste that doesn't stick worth damn. And because I'd been taking laxative lately, I had the sort of output that forces its way between the skin and the paste, and so you can't sleep because you have to constantly monitor it, or you're going to wake up with, and this is why I wear shorts to bed, you're going to wake up with shorts full of waste. And it smells bad. So like, you try to, you shift, and a stench comes out from under your covers. It's like always being in a fart. It's just not something you go to sleep to. So anyway, by 7 o'clock in the morning, I decided to try and irrigate. That's flushing it with water. And if you are successful, which I haven't been since the colonoscopy last October, then you'll be empty for up to 2 days and be able to just sleep. There'll be nothing coming out. And it's an absolutely disgusting activity, but it's only an hour of disgusting versus constantly throughout the day and night. So, I woke up really early and irrigated, and so I was up for 2 hours then. And then I went to sleep. And I was also having a fight with my dogs because in my emotional state, I turned to my dogs for comfort. And one dog got up and walked away. It's like, you're too weird for me. And the other dog, I thought it was okay. And, I had my face next to him, and I was petting him, and I was giving him kisses, and I was, you're so comforting, you're such a good boy. And all of a sudden he turned around and bit my nose. Not very hard, but I still don't understand. But I was upset about that, so I moved his bed off my bed. I mean, he was still set up with his little heating pad and his comfort. I mean, I didn't do anything unpleasant. I just withdrew him from me, and I left it that way all morning, and I finally made up because, frankly, in the long run, he's just an animal. I don't know what he really understands or knows. I have no idea why he turned on me last night. But I am too just an animal, and it was very emotional and very exhausting. And so I went back to sleep at, 10 a.m.? And slept till 1:30, and I've still got all the dishes to be done. And so today is one of those kind of days where I'm just feeling really horrible and weak and tired and crying easily. I don't know. I don't think of crying as weakness. I don't think of it as mental illness. I don't think of it as breakdown. I just think of it as a response to a difficult situation. It always amazes me when I see people online and they're in this state and they say, I can't keep my mind together. I got to see a psychiatrist. I need drugs. I can't keep it together. And I'm like, keep what together? As far as I can tell, your entire body is still intact. Crying is not the end of the world. It's embarrassing, but nobody really cares that much. I don't know. I don't see the point in being embarrassed about anything. If you feel it, you feel embarrassment, but to give it any importance, because the outcome of embarrassment is you find out who your bullies are. Because the only people who are going to be mean to you because you're doing something embarrassing are the people that are mean people. And mean people, the sooner you find out somebody's a mean person, the sooner you can keep your distance. So, being embarrassed, I guess, is just... I was bullied from a very, very young age. I remember the first time, and I always blamed it on that when I was a kid. I was put on the school bus, and the autistic in me wanted to watch the road fly by out the back window. It was fascinating, and there was just nothing more wonderful than that moment of watching the tarmac fly away behind us. I'd never seen the road from that perspective. I'd never seen that. I just wanted to watch it, and to this day, I still enjoy that kind of thing. Like, you put me on a subway, and I want to stand at the front or the back looking out the window, watching the tunnel come to or go away from me. And so, the other kids on the bus, knowing the rules that you have to sit down on the bus, and, I didn't understand safety. I was 5 years old. All I knew was everybody was trying to make me stop doing something that was really worth doing. And as far as I was concerned, kids didn't have authority to tell me what to do. Adults could tell me what to do. Kids couldn't. So I just kept saying, no, I don't want to. Until the bus driver had to stop the bus and be the adult that told me to sit down. And I always thought that was the point at which the kids in school decided to hate me. I realize now that, no, if I had not done that, it would not have made a difference. I would still have been bullied because my autism made me so socially inept that I didn't stroke anyone's ego. Not even when when the ego strokes were deserved. I didn't stroke anybody's ego, and I didn't really come outside of my own head. Anything I wanted to talk about or do or interact with was all strictly coming from my own point of view. And I didn't have the facility to even appreciate or understand other people's need for me to be there for them. Frankly, I think that's what's going on with my spouse. one of the reasons I put up with him. Because I don't think it's psychopathy, I think it's autism. Unrecognized, undiagnosed, and untreated autism. He's not been required, as I have, to study human beings and figure out what it takes to be more likable to them. And as it is, I'm still not that terribly likable. But I'm having some success because they're starting to recognize that I care. Which is translated as nice person. Just in case, you're autistic too and you don't understand. A nice person is nothing more or less than someone who cares how you feel and tries to moderate themselves for your benefit. Tries to think of your desires and help you achieve them. Be that just getting you a cookie from the kitchen. Pardon me. Yeah, the old sneezing into a... I really don't like to blow my nose in front of people. And if you were here in person, I would have gone to the bathroom to do that. But because you're on a camera, and because I know everybody else has no problem with blowing their nose in front of people. Anyway, even something as simple as recognizing that someone's refreshment needs refreshing is being nice. It's nothing more or less than trying to think of someone else's needs and help them satisfy those needs. And so, I've been literally studying my whole life to do that. Reading, when I read novels, I'm reading about how you recognize that someone has a feeling, or, because the novels will intimately describe expressions and the thoughts that are behind them, and so that you can learn to recognize this means that, this means that, and this means this, and because novel writers write about that. So I've been spending my whole life trying to figure out how to be more likable, a nice person, and I guess the only real crime in life is not valuing the feelings and needs of others. Ultimately, that is the only crime that you can commit. From it flow all other crimes, including murder and theft. If you care how your actions affect another person, then you will moderate your behavior to, at the very least, not cause them grief. And that comes back to the marriage again. He did actually finally say, well, he's going to try to remember what sort of things infuriate me and back off from having those conversations with me, back off from telling me those things. And it's not like I haven't been extremely clear and constant in trying to train him to understand what those things are. I mean, you don't walk into a room full of black people and start talking about slavery or stuff that is race related. You mind your tongue. You mind your tongue. You be mindful of what upsets other people, and you mind your tongue. He doesn't at all, and seems to take particular joy from not minding his tongue, to the extent that YouTube has killed his account, and Gmail has killed his account. He's actually lost his Gmail account and YouTube for not minding his own tongue. And he doesn't even understand. He's like, I don't know what, I think they're just censoring me because they're left-wing and I'm right-wing and it's politics. And all I ever do is send links. And I know him better than that. I know that he's not just sending links, that he's pestering people with it. That sometimes, it's just a series of cut and paste. But other times, and I've seen his comments, other times he is typing original material that includes profanity and insults. So, and when he's doing that sort of thing, he has such a smug face. I'm married to a troll, okay? And I find it embarrassing and shameful. I'm ashamed of him. And so, I'm ashamed that I got fooled into marrying someone who's such a polar opposite to me in beliefs. I'm ashamed of the beliefs that he holds because they're so harmful to society and to others. And I'm ashamed that I can't get that through to him, that I can't demonstrate for him. In what way? I mean, he talks about communism is bad and capitalism is good, but he can't even define what those things are. When I asked him what communism was, he described tyranny and fascism. When I asked him what capitalism was, he described socialism. Seriously, he thinks capitalism, he thinks there's two kinds of capitalism, good capitalism and bad capitalism. In good capitalism, wealthy people, from the goodness of their heart, make society a better place. And certainly you can find evidences of capitalists who, really did actually try to make society a better place. And I think there is a place for wealthy people in our society because they will frequently be the ones who get something done. We have an entire hospital wing for the mentally ill built on the finances of one such local capitalist who is giving back to his community. So I don't want to make nobody able to get rich. I think being able to get rich is a real incentive too. It's just how rich, to what degree, and at what point. And do we really have to use laws to constrain them? I'm a bit of an anarchist in that sense. I don't think that we should be constrained by laws. I think we should be constrained by social pressure and compassion, self-restraint. I think that recognizing that your needs are met and someone else's aren't. Just like when Timmy takes his chew stick and comes out in the kitchen and drops it in front of Piper's nose because she doesn't have a chew stick and he's had enough chew on it and there's more left over. And, this drives us crazy because these chew sticks are fantastically expensive and she eats it in 5 seconds. And I try to supply her with enough frozen meaty bones to make up for it because they're just as good, but they actually last her a couple hours. And cost only like $7 for 6 of them. So yeah, they cost around $1 a piece or less. Versus the bully sticks that cost, we cut them down. So each one is costing about $5 a piece. And they last him 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Close to a week. They last her that many minutes. So capitalists, the thing about capitalists is that the capitalist system is that it favors the acquisition of profit over the creation of product. The average human being is a creator. He may not be a creative creator. He may just be someone who's welding all day long to make the same trailer day after day after day that his daddy designed or that his cousin designed or that, a coworker designed. It's not creativity, but he's creating. He's producing something. When you go to work in your house and you clean up, you're producing a clean house. Your effort is translating directly into a result. But when your work is that of going in and deciding which stocks and bonds to invest your money in today and how many people to hire and fire in order to improve income, and or you are purely shareholder in a company that's doing well, and your work consists of showing up at meetings periodically, and maybe there might be like meetings all week because you have a lot of different places that you put your money that you're a shareholder, and your work consists of showing up at meetings and telling people they better do better. I'm sorry, you haven't produced anything. Why the hell should you get money? I don't see why those people should earn an income. I really don't. And to me, that's what capitalism is. It promotes and encourages that kind of behavior. And those people tend to be very proud of themselves because they are able to boss people around, because they're able to enjoy the highest quality of living and product and resources, because they are able to spread those resources around willy-nilly to the people they favor, and deny those resources to the people who are in their disfavor. Like me and my dogs, it's like, well, I'm going to be nice to this dog, but I'm not going to be nice to that dog because it displeased me. And I'm going to be twice as nice to this one in front of that one just to get the point home. You know, people do that. I've done it with my dogs this morning. I just wanted to get a point home to the tiny one that biting my nose when I was seeking consolation was not really an option. You know, I was feeling it. And I didn't in any way do anything cruel. I didn't deny him comfort. I didn't deny him anything but me, my graciousness. But that's enough. That's enough. After a while I went, you know, it's kind of pointless. He's just a dog. He remembers what he did, and he knows he did wrong, but he doesn't. I don't really understand why he did it. He can't really tell me, and could well have been justified. I really, you know, I can't say for sure. I'm being distracted by something, an irregularity in the weaving. I wove this fabric that's under my computer, and it's got a line of stitches that are actually joined, whereas everywhere else they're separate checks. And I'm thinking, oh, is that how you make houndstooth? So, as an anarchist, I believe that we shouldn't have to use centralized local government to force people to cooperate and share and participate together. I believe that as a socialist, I'm a socialist anarchist. As a socialist, I believe that even when someone doesn't deserve it, they have a right to having their basic needs met. And by basic needs, I'm including quality food, more than one change of clothing, you know, adequate clothing to meet the weather in their neighborhood, in their region, and adequate, comfortable housing that is clean, that is cleanable. It may not be clean because the individual may not know how to clean, and that's something to be addressed as a mental health issue, but it should be cleanable. You know, I've been reading this book. I told you about it earlier if you've been listening to these blogs, by Frederick Engels from 1844, where he describes the housing conditions of the proletariat, that is to say, the people. See, proletariat are people whose work produces a result, but who do not own. They don't own capital. They sell that work and then they live off the proceeds. And they may be able to put something by. In an ideal world, they could put something by against the hard times. They can have something to own for themselves. Capitalists, on the other hand, strictly focus on owning something for themselves and don't actually produce. So they are the bourgeois. I really hate that word. It's kind of stupid. But anyway, in my ideal world, everybody's a proletariat and nobody's a bourgeois. We're all kind of we're all owners of some capital, and we're all producers. And now I don't remember where I was going with that. That's that sleep deprivation. Anyways, I believe that, yeah, he was describing the living conditions. They didn't have enough water to drink, let alone wash. Because the floors were dirt, you couldn't scrub them. And that dirt, I remember noticing that when people live in a dirty house, they never get the dirt off their hands in the first place, and so everything they touch gets another smear of dirt or transfers dirt. Dirt transfers back and forth between their hands and their walls and their clothing, and you know, even when they sit down, their chair gets dirt transferred to it. You transfer dirt from your body to your home and back again, and you know, if your walls start to peel off and fall apart just because you're scrubbing them, you're not going to scrub them. If you know, if the surface, like for instance, this desk that I have desperately needs varnishing, and in point of fact, I probably will do that at some point. I will probably restore this desk. It could be a really cool desk, and I have a feeling it's from the 1920s, just based on the type of, the handles on it are bakelite, and the design is Art Deco. And it could be a 70s Art Deco revival, but I don't think it's plywood. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. It's not a fancy wood, so Might be worth restoring. It's mostly plank wood. But the nails are coming loose, the shells are coming loose, everything needs, I'd have to really get at it. Might be worth doing. But at the moment, it means that I cannot scrub the desk. Dirt that lands on it will actually soak into the wood and stain it. So I've put a cloth over it so that I can change out the cloth when it gets dirty. And because I don't like the texture under my hand, but when your entire world is made up of stuff like that, you can't keep it clean. So when I say clean about accommodations, that's what I mean. That they're in a position to actually choose to fix the place up. That they, I can't fix my kitchen cupboards. No matter how hard I scrub them, they will always look a little rough. The cupboard doors will always hang crooked. What it needs is a new kitchen. And I can do that myself for about $1,000. I could go to the Home Depot and buy the really cheap flat pack cupboards, and I could put in a new kitchen, but I can't put in. But I can't because I don't have the skills to replace the counter. I don't have the muscular strength or energy to tear out the old cupboards, so I need help. Plus, of course, I'm using the kitchen constantly. I'm hoping once I could get the bus finished enough to move all my dishes and food in there and operate out of the bus instead of the kitchen, that I can then tear this kitchen apart and renovate it. And then whether I rent this place or sell it, at least it won't have this nasty kitchen. But, to have someone come in and do it for me would cost me at least. So when I say I think everybody has a right to certain things, I think that there should be enough resources on the planet that I don't have to come up with $10,000 to get a decent kitchen. That I should be able to go to the local council and request help, and that help will arrive, and that help won't cost me a fortune. That people will recognize that I contribute to society, and and there will be times when I will be called by the council to come and paint someone's house because that's my trade and my skill. And I won't have to look for the person who needs their house painted, and I won't have to figure out how much money I'm supposed to charge them. People will just go, hey, this is the house, this is the name of the people, they need a paint job, can you go out and see if you can do it? And I would go out, and if I could do it, I would just do it. And it would be part of my contribution to the society that will likewise come out and change out my cupboards for me. And that I could go, I don't know how it all works, but I do know, having watched a video recently on Russell Brand's channel about, and I'll link that, I'll try to remember to link that. There's a wonderful hour-long podcast there with a diplomat who became an anarchist, and they talk about places where anarchy was working until the fascists came in with their armies and blew it up, where, because Libya apparently was working as an anarchist society, and the capitalists and oilmongers did not like that. So they stirred up trouble with the tribes and the sects in the bush, and they flooded the region with weapons, and they encouraged the neighbors to cross the borders and make war on Libya. And they took out Colonel Gaddafi, and they took out, and they damned him in the media. I mean, everything I ever heard about Gaddafi was bad, bad, bad. But now I'm hearing from these two people, including a man who met him and knew him, and who saw the situation on the ground, that was all capitalist lies. So, well, thanks for coming to visit with me. I actually feel better even though you weren't here. I guess it really is, it's the talking, not the listening that matters. Because I feel like I've been heard. And I've got dishes to do. Oh, I will feel better. I've had some sleep, and once I get back into the swing of things, and getting up and by tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be cheerful again. I won't be on the verge of tears over stupid little things. This is physical. This is just physical, mental. I had an emotion storm on the brain. Those things are bad for the brain, like I said the other day. So, there's the smile. See, I can't even smile properly. I can laugh, and then it looks like a smile, but I can't just go, hey, I'm happy, bright and cheerful. Although it's a good thing to practice forming your face into the rictus of a smile, if only to make the wrinkles on your face look better. Get rid of this one. So, thanks for visiting.